Hello everyone, today I'm sharing with you some projects that I've made using the lovely beads and bead caps and things from BB Craft that I received last week. I will be using some of the lovely bead caps from this kit here. We'll also be using some of the spacer beads in different sizes. And I'll also be using some of the jewellery findings that I received in a previous design kit as well. I'll also be using the 3mm glass pearl beads. As you can see, I've used about half of them. And also some of the larger pearls that I received in a previous design pack as well. So the first things that I made, I thought I would try my hand at a little bit of lace applique. And so Neri sent me some beautiful appliques, and I have decided just to try my hand at putting a few beads on those flowers on the stamens, and I quite like the effect that gives. I think next time I do that I'll probably put sequins behind them as well, but I gave it a go. And I also did this little applique here and put some tassels on the bottom of it. I think I'll tea dye this applique piece and then put some more little beads in there as well, and I think that turned out really pretty. The next thing I did, I thought I'd try making some little beaded flowers. Now, I've seen this around for years. I don't know where I first saw it. I think the lady was actually Russian. It was a few years ago now, but I've never actually tried it. But I thought with having the smaller beads, I would give it a go. And so this is what I've made, and I absolutely love the way they've turned out. I think they're just beautiful and they look quite vintage. I've used the 8mm glass pearl bead as well from BB Craft, and I will link all the things that I've used in the description box below. These are very, very easy to make. I have wound some seam binding around the stems just to tidy it up, but I think they will be so pretty tucked into projects, or to decorate your room or anything like that. They're very bridal looking actually, I think, and they're all done with wire. I used a 24 gauged wire. I only had gold, so I've used gold, which I don't mind at all. Perhaps silver next time. So they're the things I've made so far, and then I thought that I would also make just some little tuck-ins for clusters and things. They're almost like leaves, but they're not. They're just little oval shapes, and once again I've put some seam binding around the stems just to tidy that up, so they'll come in handy on projects. And I did try a leaf. I'm not exactly pleased with the leaf. I think I probably need a smaller pearl bead to make leaves the way I envision them. So as you can see, there's the gold wire down the bottom there. So, and lastly, I have made some little tassels, and I was inspired to make these little tassels by the lovely tassel that Esme sent me, and I've put it on my heart journal, and that's what inspired me to make these little tassels. And so I've made this one, and this one is completely out of spacer beads, and it has the small bead cap on the top there, and the silver is so sparkly it's almost hard to see when you're doing it because it's so shiny. Then I've also used a jump ring and a tiny little lobster clasp on the top there from the jewelry findings kit. So that's one little tassel that I've made. The second little tassel I've made is this one here, and that's very similar to the one Esme sent me. That's got the 3mm pearl beads on it. It's also got the spacer beads I think 2mm spacer beads and a 4mm spacer bead down the bottom there, as you can see. And I will be showing you how I make these. There's probably tutorials out there on it also, but it was kind of guesswork from paper bead tassels I've seen made, and I've made myself as well. Also put one of the I think that's probably a 6mm pearl bead up the top there as well, and that's using the lovely little bead cap. And the last one I made was this one here. We have the larger bead cap on the top with another 6mm pearl bead and a lobster clasp. And this one I did a little bit differently. This one I've done in 3 different lengths. I started off with a smaller length here, and then I got it a bit longer, and then I think it might be 4 different lengths actually, looking at it. Yes, it's 4 different lengths. There we go, if you can see those. So I've done, I think there's 5 beads in between there, 7 beads in between the next one, 9 beads the next one, and then 11 on the longest. And I really like the way that turned out, because it's very elegant to look at. So they're my projects for this week for BB Craft. I hope you like them, and I hope you enjoy the small how-to tutorial that I've put together for you. And I'll see you again next week with another project from BB Craft. So take care, everybody. Bye. All right. So for the little tassel, I'm just using a small nylon ribbon, and it's the type of ribbon that doesn't fray very easily. All I've done is made my beaded tassel by sewing each strand very close together, about 1/4 inch apart at the most, I would say. I have 10 beads, the pearls and probably the 2mm spacer beads. Then I have another 3mm bead on the end, a 4mm spacer bead, and then a very small 2mm spacer bead to finish it off right on the end. And I have 9 of those along this little bit of ribbon here, ready to make my tassel. And all I'm going to do is just trim my ribbon up first, and I'm just going to thread my needle. This is my well-loved beading needle, and I do like it having that bent shape. I need to use a needle threader to thread the needle because they're so fine. Make sure you've got plenty of thread on your needle at this part. You don't want just a small piece of thread, you know, you want enough to complete the project. So if you've only got a bit left on there from doing the bead work, then perhaps rethread your needle just so you've got enough thread. Okay, so we have our needle, and I'm going to take that double thickness because I want it to hold what I'm doing. And what I'm going to do is just fold the end over a bit to keep it strong, and just do a few stitches to hold it there. Okay, that should hold it nicely, and I think I'm just going to trim those 2 ends off so they're not so distracting. And now I'm going to get a eye pen. These are also from BB Craft. I'll just empty those. I don't know why they're still in little bags. It's always easier to get to them when they're emptied out. Okay. Okay, so we have an eye pin, and I'm just going to put that in there, and I'm going to stitch that eye pin in there. Can you believe it? My hands are actually cold today. The weather has changed so much. It's beautiful actually. I love the cooler weather. I don't like it icy cold, but we don't get it icy cold here anyway, so from now until probably October, November, it will be absolutely wonderful, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm just stitching that eye pin onto the ribbon, just a few stitches to keep it in place. Okay, and then I'm just going to roll that over, put another stitch through. Like that, and that should hold it now. Try and keep my thread to the back, and I'm going to roll that a couple of times, put another stitch through that way, and down the other end, trying not to get myself, and back up again. Try and keep my thread to the top part of the ribbon, and now I'm going to roll it a couple of more times, and now we're taking on those beads now, so we don't want to pull on the beads, so we're going to put another couple of stitches, being careful not to get your finger. These needles can be very sharp. That, do a few more, trying to keep that ribbon as straight as you can. 2 or 3 turns is good. Just want to put one down the bottom, make sure we're keeping it all nice and straight. And then what I'm going to do is put a couple of stitches there now. Trim that off. And I'm going to get a bit of fabric glue and put it on that end piece. That will stop any fraying, and it will just secure the end of it around the rest of that ribbon. Okay, just hold that for a moment. Just going to leave got a bit hot. I think I still have a little bit of a bug of some kind. I'm not still not 100%, but not as bad as I felt. Okay, now we're going to find a little bead cap from the ones from BB Craft, and I'm hoping this one here fits it. Isn't it pretty? So hopefully that will be the right size, because I like the look of that. Okay. Going to get one of these. Oh, they're so shiny, it's hard to see where the hole is. One of those. I have a pearl. The pearl is from BB Craft also, and I think I'll have another one of those as well. Is it how I want it? I don't like the bigger one there. I think I'll go for a smaller one. Yes, I prefer the smaller one. Okay, get my tool. Clamp it nice and tight so nothing's moving around too much, and just bend it over. Trim it. Okay. And now we need a little jump ring. We also want oh, here we go, a little lobster clamp. Let's just empty some of these out. This is a wonderful pack from BB Craft. You see all those wonderful things in there. If you look in the playlist, you'll see the things I've been sent previously, and that's what all these things are. And it's really nice that I can use them in every, project, because you don't always use them in one project, but they're there for other ones. So I will have to come in and take all of those things out. But there we go. We have a lobster clasp, and we have a jump ring. So I am going to open up the jump ring like that. It's only a small jump ring. Where's my lobster clasp? I didn't take one out, did I? And then we will put that on there, and then we will try very hard to close it up. I only have one of these tools, so I have to do the best I can. Okay, and there we have our lovely little tassel, and I think it turned out rather pretty. And not hard to do, a little bit time consuming, but the more you do it, the quicker you get at it. So there we go, a nice little tassel to put on your journals, or just, you know, you don't have to have a lobster clasp, you can sew it onto your projects or anything like that. So I hope you enjoyed that little tutorial.